In this lesson I will show you how to prepare a simple 3D model in FreeCAD from scratch. We will cover many basic issues, and after this lesson you will be able to design your own 3D models. But before we go any further, please subscribe to this channel. Okay, select Part Design Workbench, create new file, and before we start, choose Blender navigation style. The style of navigation determines the way we navigate, and it's important that we have the same. And if you move the cursor over here, a hint will be displayed on how the selected navigation style works. Okay, let's start by creating a sketch. Select XY plane, and now before we start drawing geometry, check these controls. Okay, draw a rectangle. Okay, using the mouse wheel you can zoom in or zoom out the view. Okay, and right click to cancel this command. Now let's add a symmetric constraint to the origin. You can do it in two ways. You can select this point and this point and this point and select symmetry constraint. Okay, or you can do it in the other way, but first remove the symmetry constraint. You will find the constraints in the constraints list, and to delete a constraint, select that constraint. The constraint will also be highlighted in the drawing, and press delete key. Okay, the second way requires more steps. Select this point and this point and y-axis, and select the symmetry constraint, and select this point and x-axis, and constraint symmetrical. The first way was faster, but both ways give the same effect. Now draw two circles in any places. For example, one circle here and second circle here. And now we will take another constraint to place the center of the circle on this side of the rectangle. Okay, let's cancel the circle drawing command by right clicking and select this point and this line, and select constraint point onto object. Okay, the circle is already on this line, but we can still move this circle. Now we are going to put this circle in the middle of this line. In this case you can select the center of the circle and the y-axis and select constraint point onto object, and the center of this circle is on the middle of this line. Or we can do it in another way. Let's put this circle on this line. Okay, and now select this point and this point and this point, and select constraint symmetrical. And now the center of this circle is on the middle of this line. In this case we could use two ways to place the circle in the middle of the side of the rectangle, but this sketch is incorrect. We cannot create a solid from this sketch because the sketch geometries intersect. In FreeCAD the sketch must be a single closed contour. Therefore, in this case, the unnecessary fragments of the geometry should be trimmed. And to do that, select the Trim Edge command. Okay, and select the edges you want to trim. Okay, right click to cancel this command, and now grab one corner of the rectangle and gently move it. Grab means press the left mouse button on this geometry. The geometry is a bit messed up, but that was the point. We have 8 degrees of freedom here, and the individual fragments of the sketch have no relation to each other. Relationships between geometries are constraints, and the sketch should be properly constrained. Let's start by making this line equal to this line, and select this line and select this line and select constraint equal. Okay, now select this line and select constraint horizontally. Okay, now this line is horizontal and this line is also horizontal because this line is equal to this line. Okay, let's select this line and select constraint equal. Okay, and select this line and constraint equal. Okay, now we have only 4 degrees of freedom, and let's dimension these fragments of circles. Select this arc and select constraint radius and enter here, for example, 20 millimeters. Okay, and select constraint radius and select this arc and here, for example, 15 millimeters. Okay, right click to cancel this command, and now we have 2 degrees of freedom. And let's add the horizontal dimension and vertical dimension for this sketch. Select this point and select constraint horizontal distance and enter here, for example, 150 millimeters. Okay, and select this point and select constraint vertical distance and enter here, for example, 100 millimeters. Okay, everything seems fine. The sketch is fully constrained, and based on that sketch we could already create a 3D model. In fact, constraints are not necessary to create 3D model based on a sketch. The constraints make relationships between geometries correct, and by using constraints later sketch editing will be much easier. For example, if you want to change this dimension, just edit this dimension, for example 120, click OK, and the sketch is still correct. I mentioned that in FreeCAD a sketch must be a closed and single contour. What I means that you can't do something like that we have 2 separate contours, but we can make second geometry inside the first one, but we can't add another geometry here anymore. Okay, it's not allowed. Okay, select this geometry and click delete. Okay, and leave this one. I will add dimensions. Okay, okay. Sketch is now complete. Click close. And now, based on this sketch, we are going to create a 3D model. Select Path command. This is an extrude sketch command. Specify the length of extrusion, which in this case is the height of the model, for example 15 millimeters, and click OK. Now I will show you one more basic tool for creating solids, the pocket operation, and this operation creates a pocket from the sketch. So as in the case of the path operation we added material, so in the case of the pocket operation the material will be removed. We will create another sketch, select this face and create sketch, draw a rectangle. Okay. Let's dimension this rectangle. Okay. Select this point and select x-axis and select constraint symmetrical, and now we will determine the distance of this rectangle from the outer edge of the model. To do this, we need to use the external geometry operation. Select this operation and select this edge. When it's highlighted, click the left mouse button. OK, and auxiliary geometry has been created. And now select this point and select constraint horizontal distance. And OK. And the sketch is fully constrained. Click close and now select pocket operation and specify the depth of the pocket, for example 5 mm, and click OK. And that's it. The model itself doesn't look complicated, but during this lesson we covered a lot of basic issues. Based on the information you learn, you can start creating your own 3D models. Thanks for watching and please subscribe to this channel.